What is going on, Clippers fans? Welcome to Season 3, Episode 43 of Clips in Dip. I am Chuck Mockler. We got the full crew. Adam Osland is here. William Updike is here. Just a little quick hitter for you. Now that Kawhi is playing fourth quarter minutes, we're going to talk about what we liked from seeing that as a whole, a little bit about the wonky officiating that happened in the Phoenix game. And then the Clippers thankfully have some winnable games coming up because we got to make up for this conference record. If you're watching us at youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast, hello. If you're listening, hello to you as well. Before we get into it, and before we get into Adam's big announcement, William, how are you doing on this kind of chilly Tuesday evening in Los Angeles?
I'm doing good, man. Last night was certainly a bummer the way that one panned out. There are some issues which I'm sure we'll talk about, but yeah, I don't know. I'm braving through the cold. I'm doing all right.
You're surviving, which is good.
Yeah. I'm almost feeling up to fourth quarter minutes. So just get back to me at the end of this podcast. But I'm almost there.
That's why we're doing a short one today. Will's got a minutes cap, so we're going to do the first 2/3 of an episode. Adam, no minutes restriction for you. We know that whole season you've been playing the full 48. How are you doing today after that loss to the Suns?
I'm okay. It was a tough loss last night because it happened again to the Suns, and this time they had Kawhi, and it was a pretty bad first half, which probably did them in overall. They just didn't start so poorly defensively, and Phoenix wasn't that hot from three. People kept saying, well, you're leaving them wide open. It's like, guys, teams don't shoot 8 of 11 on wide open threes like they did in the first quarter. Like, they weren't all wide open, first of all, in the first quarter, and they still went 8 of 11. That's open gym stuff. Like, it was crazy. So they had some outlier shooting go against them. And I think Phoenix just has some confidence against them right now after that 15 of 15 start to that third quarter the last time they played them in Intuit Dome. Yeah. Just seems like they have a rational confidence against the Clippers.
Can you do your big announcement now? Is the public ready?
I don't know why anyone else cares, but I got another kitten.
Yes.
And I named it Tuca after Bianca Batuka, my favorite Panther growing up, one of the great names, because it's like a little black cat, looks like a little panther, and it fucking claws like one. my hands, look at those.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's only 2 months old, and it's not spayed yet, and
you're like, it eats whole carcasses of antelope, which I have to track in, which I'm a little concerned about.
It can be very sweet too, but yeah, that's the fun part about cats. They can be very unpredictable and wild.
Well, we're excited to see Bianca Batuka on the show at some point. But before we get into even more cat talk, we got to talk about it. The Clippers lost. If you missed it, they lost by 2 against the Suns. The first half was horrible. The first half of this game was very bad from the Clippers defensively. Like, it was not what we're used to seeing at all.
The 15 second chance points in the first half by the Suns. The 15 second chance points in the first half by the Suns, because I think they averaged 12 per game and they had 15. They averaged 14 3-pointers made per game. They had 14 at the half against the Clippers. And a lot of that happened because the offensive rebounds the Clippers were giving up. Coach Lue did say post-game that he felt like because the way they were scrambling and rotating, it led to some of those offensive rebounds for the Phoenix Suns, where guys were just out of position, which does make sense. But
a lot of longer rebounds too.
Dude, so many grabbed like at the free throw line. Like, there was one sequence, I think this was later in the game, but it was when things were like the Clippers were doing their thing. Booker missed a 3, I think got his own long rebound, just took a couple steps back and then hit another 3.
And that's one of those things that, like, I understand needing to make an adjustment, but it's just kind of counterintuitive to the way that you've been rebounding and playing defense sort of all season. So I can't really fault them for that. I do think, though, that, the lackadaisical approach to defense, I mean, yes, there was an outlier shooting night. I think it's an outlier shooting night anyway, but when you allow a team to like get comfortable and get into rhythm like that, you're certainly not doing yourself any favors.
And we saw them lock it up in the third, right? They went a 17-3 run in the third quarter, which was fueled partly by the Suns coming back down to earth a little bit, and the defense just like not having to chase as much. Before we get to the Kawhi stuff, last time we were all together, I was the one who was the most concerned about Chris Dunn's knee, was a little poo-pooed. How are we feeling? I think that absence was felt last night for a team needing a defensive jolt, and he might miss the next 2 games.
Yeah, honestly, if they had 15 minutes from Chris Dunn last night, they probably win that game. I do feel like he can disrupt an offense, in a minimal amount of minutes with just the energy he puts out there and the way he can just be an absolute rabid dog defensively.
He's ruled out for tomorrow's game against the Spurs, and then he might rejoin the team on the road trip, is what Law said yesterday, but I don't think.
Yeah,
Do
does
you
no
think he's gonna
travel
play?
is the level of concern for you?
The no travel is where I'm like, so he's not with the team. There's only 2 more games after this one against the Spurs. Let's let him heal up. These next 2 games after the Spurs, like this is where the Clippers can get wins, which we're going to talk about. Like, let him hang out. He can come back when they get back into it, Dome. Because we're going to need him. Like he's a guy who is a playoff disruptor when it comes to defense.
I mean, Kevin Porter Jr. was not good last night.
No.
Yeah, he was so good on Saturday, which was crazy. Like he did all
He
the
was
stuff.
so good against Boston.
It's the thing that we keep saying though. Like, I mean, yeah, that's why he doesn't have a guaranteed spot. I mean, he kind of does in Ty Lue's rotation, but I mean, on any other team, like the level of consistency is just not there.
Yeah,
I would like to point out that Terrence Mann is hardly playing now, and Chris Dunn is not there. I don't think KPJ is the guy coming out of the rotation when Chris Dunn is back.
No. Yeah, that's this other funny thing is like some people are like, how long is Ty Lue going to do this? We're halfway through the season. This is what he's doing. Like we're not 5 games in seeing what's up. It's the end of January. Like KPJ is effectively, I don't know if he's in the playoff rotation, but he's in what's going to be the shorter regular season rotation once they start figuring it out, I think. Because we need another ball handler.
I don't see how your backup ball handler cannot be in the playoff rotation. Right. He's your backup ball handler. Like I it may not be playing, 25 minutes, but he might get 12.
Yeah, no, you're right. It'll be diet. KPJ. Oof.
Right now, that's what it looks like.
He was at like 14 last night. I would say like, yeah, that 10 to 12 number is a pretty safe assumption. It's just going to be a matter of by how much are we losing those minutes?
I mean, he could, like, that's the thing. Like, he could come in, score some, like, help us win a game, and then the next night it's like, oh, it's the other version.
Like, it's not like plenty of players aren't inconsistent in this league. Like,
of course.
You don't know what you're getting night to night from anybody. It's just such a wider variance with him. But I do think it's worth pointing out, he almost won them the game against Boston with all the guys out.
Absolutely.
With that third quarter. And he helped them win the game against Milwaukee with doing all the little things in the fourth quarter.
That was his best game to me because it was like the Boston game was great, obviously, but we had 6 rotation guys out, right? Like it's his time. It's great. He took charge of it.
Yeah, he's having to like fit the mold a little bit less in that.
Exactly. Yeah, and he did what Ty Lue alluded to the other night, right? On Saturday, where he said like he was kind of taking charge of the unit on the floor and like getting guys involved. So, hey, you got half a season to figure it out. I guess we'll see.
And look,
I do think
as rough as last night was, as rough as the KPJ minutes were, things could be worse. Like you could be down 25 in Philly to a Sixers team without Paul George, without Joel Embiid. Like things could be
Who is that? Who are you speaking of?
Take care of business, Sixers, please.
All right, let's get to the best part of the game against the Suns. Kawhi Leonard playing fourth quarter minutes. We got fourth quarter Kawhi back, and he looked great, I thought. In context, Will, how did you feel? Did you stand up? Were you clapping in your apartment when Kawhi was getting ready to come in the fourth quarter? How did it feel to see him out there?
Oh, I mean, it felt great. And he had 2 dunks in this game. He looked pretty spry. When he took that ball on the hip, I was certainly very, very worried. I mean, luckily it's the other side of his body, but still.
It was so awkward. He like felt like, ugh.
It was so like it was kind of slow, which I feel like are always like the bad ones when it's like it happens slow for some reason.
Did it look to you guys like he winced before he hit the ground? I thought it was in the air where it almost happened.
Yeah, I think you're right because he like the way that he goes down. He was definitely like he felt something or was bracing himself, or it did not look great. But to shy away from that,
he's not on the injury report either, which is great.
Yeah, no, it was great to see him play some fourth quarter minutes, and I mean it just opens things up for everyone else, and it's another one of those woulda, coulda, shouldas. If maybe those minutes were managed a little bit differently. If he was in the closing, I don't know. I don't know that that's enough to tip the scales. I think they were just a little bit too far behind all night.
I think the most encouraging thing, other than the dunk after the fall, where I feel like I heard every Clippers fan in the city be like, the layup he had, was it his first bucket of the fourth quarter? He only had two.
I think
but the one where he was bringing the ball up at half, and he just went by everybody and just hit a tough layup. And it was like he blew by a double team. It felt really good to see that second layup. Not that, we had any reason to not think he would be explosive, whatever adjective you want to use, but like it was encouraging. It was even more encouraging.
And that looked like a vintage Kawhi Leonard type of layup where he kind of tries to draw the foul and kicks his legs at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. And I think he just caught the defense slipping there because they didn't think, oh, he's going to go all the way to the basket here. He didn't let them get set. He just go in for a quick hitter.
Yeah.
It was a smart play.
Probably should have got the call, but the refs were terrible.
The last 3 games, I got to say,
dude,
the last 3 games, the Clippers have kind of and they've lost 2 of them, and the refs have been pretty bad in all 3.
And we're not a show that I would say blames the refs kind of really ever. But the last 3 games watching it's just been like the double dribble not called on Beal blew my mind. The travel calls on Amir, like it was just like, that was frustrating. Adam, do you want to add anything about the Kawhi fourth quarter minutes? Respectfully, he played 6.5 minutes in the fourth. I think we're going to see the same kind of, what was it, 28, 27? Yeah, he played 27, 56.
I do want to say, like, one thing. I mean, Adam teased this like a game early. You were thinking in Milwaukee we might see a bump up of the minutes around to the 30. And I gotta say, while it seems like a minimal difference, I really like the jump from like 24 to 28 and like just taking this as gradually as humanly possible. Obviously, you feel even better about it if the Clippers were able to eke out a win in that one. But I do really like this approach. I am a fan of the approach. I think that this has been done more thoughtfully. Not that they did it haphazard before, but I feel like this is the most thoughtful they've been in a return of a marquee player. I don't know. And I'm sorry to step on your toes, whatever you get into it.
No, it's a good point because basically you're getting Kawhi Leonard the first 7 minutes of each quarter. That's kind of how they divvied up the minutes. So it just feels a little bit more consistent and reassuring for the rest of the lineups and how you build these things out. And Coach Lou talked about it a little bit post-game, how they're still adjusting. But I thought he looked pretty good in the fourth quarter. He did have that really bad turnover where he just kind of lost the ball on a crossover.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of like a KPJ type of turnover, just like or like,
there goes the ball.
Happened there? The ball pressure wasn't bad, and he just lost it making a move. It happens, and maybe that was just, I don't know, he was a little bit more gassed because it was the first time he played that many minutes. Who knows?
It's been a lot of basketball too, right? Even if he took the back-to-back off, it's just been a lot of basketball for a guy coming back. And the rotation you mentioned too, because I'm pretty sure that fourth quarter stint, it lets Harden get some rest.
Yeah.
Because I don't think Harden was on the floor for that whole first stint. So let's Harden kind of come in and be the closer.
And that's like another reason why it was a KPJ performance. Obviously, you can't hint everything on box score, but like he was out there in Kawhi minutes and like team worst plus minus.
Right.
So yeah, not a good showing from him.
I saw some people say, well, why wouldn't you save him for the end of the fourth quarter? It's because that would be a huge amount of time off from his stint to start the third.
No, that's a great point.
Like, they're not going to risk him, coming in cold to chase a game and have a better chance maybe with him at the very end of it to close it out. Like, they're going to prioritize him just having his minutes evenly distributed and him having some consistency with rest on the bench each game.
The consistency is huge. You're totally right. Like taking him out the first 7 minutes of the third and then come in the last 7 when we're really making this push, when you haven't been playing for, an
full
entire quarter an entire quarter plus a break. Like, yeah, we'll see. I bet the minutes restriction is up to 30 by. Hold on, let me pull the schedule up real quick. I'm typing super loud. I bet that's up. I bet he plays 30 against the Lakers on the 4th.
Yeah.
Mind you, there are 3 games between now and then. So I think he gets the
back-to-backs, right?
No back-to-backs. First back-to-back is the 12th and 13th of February, right before the All-Star break. Because
back-to-backs are tough. You could end up losing in Philly to a team without Paul George and Embiid badly, embarrassingly. They're really hard.
For some teams, they are difficult. Anything else on how we're feeling about Kawhi before we head into a little, please, we need to win some of these games?
I think before we close on this game, I know it's expected, but what Ivica Zubac is doing this season, I don't feel like we can give enough praises for. 25 and 16. He did have 3 turnovers, which wasn't great. He was getting a shit whistle. I thought he was getting a shit whistle.
He got fouled by Plumlee.
He had one
dunk.
Yeah, he had 1 free throw attempt all game. He was taking all sorts of contact. Obviously he motions to the refs. He's aware. He's very upset about it.
But he does more than motion. Yeah.
But he doesn't ever hang his head. He's not sleeping on the next play. He's not stewing on it. I thought Ivica Zubac, this was another. This was it's even hard to pick because there's been so many, but I feel like this was one of the best all-around Zoo games of the year. You maybe take away the turnovers, sure, but that was another reason that it was kind of a bummer for me that the Clippers couldn't get over the hump in this one.
You know what would help with the whistle? We've talked about it for maybe 5 years at this point. Grow the hair long. You got to have something to shake when you're getting contact down there.
Or even go back to the glasses and kind of grease them up so you have them falling off all the time.
Dude, oh my God. Before I got contacts, anytime your glasses fell off playing a sport, you could be on your way to a triple double. If your glasses fall off, you just feel like fucking Millhouse. You could have dunked on a guy, but if your glasses fall off, it's oh. Yeah, shame for Zoo. Should be an all-star. Yeah, that was a good.
I honestly, I said this earlier in our text, but I think the type of energy Zoo was on in that game, I think he could have got to 40 if they really fed him in that game against Phoenix. Nick Richards wanted no part of him. He went around Mason Plumlee for that crazy reverse layup. He dunked on him and should have gotten the and one. They had nothing for Zubac.
That baseline reverse was unreal for a big man. I thought that was unreal.
The footwork is crazy.
And also because he's not even in the inaugural players that we can't pick, I think we got to give a shout out to Derrick Jones Jr., who had an absolutely insane dunk off the Norm Powell miss. That was that fucking blew my mind. He came out of nowhere. I yelled a little bit because I was scared. I wasn't even excited. I was where did he come from?
That's maximum put back distance.
It has to be. I don't know how they measure that, but it has to be up there.
Someone get another Zapruder footage, but he was so far out when he jumped, and he was back.
The team shared multiple angles, and basically the way that the broadcast cameras were shooting it, he's so far out, he's not in fucking frame.
It's like a jump scare.
That's exactly what it was. That's what I'm saying. I yelled. I couldn't even cheer. I was too scared.
I think that's the best putback dunk since Blake had the dunk on the back of Pau Gasol.
Yeah. Oh,
that was incredible.
Oh man, so there were some good things from
Yeah,
that game.
he only ended up going 1 of 3 from beyond the arc, but all around, I thought that was a great Derrick Jones Jr. game.
Yeah, horrible bench game, which we'll talk about later at some point. All right, coming up, we're going to be just a quick rundown of these again incredibly winnable games the Clippers have coming up before we send you out on your week. If you're listening, there's going to be a skosh of a commercial break. If you're watching, you're going to enjoy this moment of zen. We're going to be talking some winnable games after this in 3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome back into Clips and Dip. We're how many games we had predicted this 9-game stretch? I think we're 2 games in so far, 1-1. Anyways,
Yes.
whatever. Regardless, we got some
shit.
winnable games coming up. We got the Spurs, Hornets, Raptors all on the roster. Charles, what are you thinking? Little 3-0 run right here, little morale booster,
Dude. Like, I looked up just last 5 games net rating. Spurs are 20th. The Hornets and Raptors are 24th and 25th. Like, these are De'Aaron Fox trade pending, I guess, before we play the Spurs. There is, I don't usually say things like this, I don't think. There's no reason the Clippers can't go 3-0 over this stretch. Yes, it's every other day. I understand that. There's travel. The quality of this opponents at this time, these are teams that if the Clippers are, who we think they can be, they need to win these games. I'd be fine with 2-1, but am I wrong here?
No, Spurs are in a little bit of a slump. They're falling down the standings. They're out of the play-in picture right now. They're 3-7 in their last 10. Again, doesn't mean that you can play down. I still think that it could be a difficult game, but it is for sure a very winnable game. And after another loss to a Western Conference team, you have to you do everything you can to bolster that record. We're 2 games right now outside of a potential home court in the playoffs. 2 moves down, but you.
Adam is 3-0, crazy.
No, I think it's possible. No back-to-backs, level of competition. Spurs are 3-7 in their last 10. They just lost a game in Paris with Victor Wembanyama.
That no one could watch. That no one could see.
What was up with that? What was that even on? Was that only on Keep Sport or whatever?
The Ocho.
Yeah. Ocho.
I would say if you want to be a top 4 seed of the Western Conference, you probably have to win the next 3 games. These are just games you have to win because, yeah, they're 2 games behind Denver, who's in the 4 spot, but it's actually 3 because Denver has the tiebreaker with conference record, and they're not giving that up. It's not going to happen. So you're going to have to straight up.
I'll give you 2.5. I can do 2.5.
I'll just say it. These are the ones you have to win. This is it.
And you mentioned the conference record. The only other teams with a losing conference record in the Western Conference are the Blazers, Pels, and Jazz.
Yeah,
every other team is at least 500.
Only one team in the playoffs picture has as many conference losses as the Clippers, and it is the Mavericks, who are without Luka for a period of time. They've been a little banged up. It's not good. It's not good. Do you want me to elaborate further? It's really bad.
You're right. But yeah, if any of these were a must win, the Spurs one is just strictly for the conference situation. This is it's not an anomaly. It's not crazy, but you're like, damn, we've been overperforming. We've been really, feeling ourselves with how we've been playing. We can't beat anyone in the conference. Really?
Well, aren't we just
don't have a matchup
below 500?
Yeah, no. But that's not for a team that is elite. You know what I'm saying? You gotta.
That's fair.
That's who we're playing in the playoffs. I wish we could play non-conference, I guess, but
even with that, for some reason, I still feel very confident in this Clippers team when healthy. I feel like the record is somewhat influenced by who is available. Did they have Kawhi? They've had a couple of bad losses, but they haven't had many this season where I felt like, they just didn't bring it that night or they were outclassed. San Antonio the last time out they were, so they better be much better tomorrow with Kawhi.
Yeah, Portland. That one is never.
The Portland loss is awful.
Oh, yeah, I'm never going to forget that one.
Dodgers won the World Series, and I couldn't have been more bummed. It's the same damn. It was the same damn night.
I couldn't have told you.
I found out during the dog shit game that the Dodgers won the World Series.
That's so funny. Can't flip it over. I'm watching Clips Blazers, man.
I was at the stadium.
No, I know.
To be fair, that was a back-to-back for them, and we know how those things can go. You can lose in Philly to a team without Paul George and Embiid. It's just, man.
All right. Love that. Anything else we want to say about these upcoming games? We're probably going to do some post games for you coming up. I got some family in town, so maybe I'll make them watch Clippers Hornets. That'd be fun. Anything else about these three? Who's our player of this 3-game stretch, I guess? Who are we picking? No back-to-backs. Spurs, Hornets. Who is it? Raptors. Who is going to shine over these 3 games?
I got
Kawhi Leonard.
I got Amir.
Okay.
He had a big game against the Spurs the first game when they had that 26-point comeback.
Okay.
And I like the way he's been the first guy off the bench the last couple of games, guys.
He's been playing really good. He's making Terrence Mann expendable.
His defense on KD was good. Like, he made crazy shots, but
that he played such good defense on that late bucket on the 4th that KD hit. I was like, oh, I've seen this 50 million times. I'm frankly a little tired of it. Will, who's your pick?
Kawhi.
Okay, sure.
He's gonna look like that guy again for all 3 games. Book it.
Kawhi's on the table?
No, Kawhi's not on the table.
I thought it was named after him.
It is.
No, but this is like a parlay situation, so all 3 has to hit on all 3 games.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise, otherwise I have to go in the timeout corner or whatever we do when you have a bad pick in this segment.
No, I like it.
We don't shame people enough. We don't shame people enough for their picks on this segment.
Okay, we need a dunce hat. We need a Clippers dunce hat. That if whoever picks the worst guy has to wear the dunce hat. Adam, what were you about to say before my dunce hat idea?
This is a really big test for Kawhi on this road trip, playing more minutes, because it's every other day they're playing, so we're assuming he's going to be there for the next 3 games. Like, this is flying city to city, traveling. We talked about that when he first was coming off the injury, but this is a really big test right now, just to see if Kawhi makes it through this. I mean, everybody's going to have a little bit more confidence.
That's a good call. So Will picked Kawhi, which feels pretty solid. Adam picked Amir Coffee.
Will unlock the Kawhi pick.
Yeah, I'm going to go James Harden. No. I'm going to, in keeping with the spirit of the award, I'm going Derek Jones Jr. He's, I think, pretty much cemented himself as who's going to be the 5th starter, right? Like, that's a foregone conclusion. We're going to need some legs. We're going to need some juice on this 3-game road trip. I think Derek Jones Jr. is going to provide that. And also another chance for him to get more confidence behind the arc against some not league average defenses, which is good.
I swear to God, if the Sixers blow this game.
Okay, we got to get Adam out of here so we can watch this. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Always a good time. Will, wait, we need to do one positive. No, never mind. Will, where can people find us and leave reviews if they want to? Who's going to be able to track the dunce hat assignment?
Yeah, dunce hat tracker 2025. You're going to want to stay tuned into Clips and Dip, which you can do that. You can tell your friends, your family to do that wherever they get their podcasts. If you happen to listen over on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can leave a little rating and review. You can leave nice little comments over on Spotify now on every episode, maybe mean ones. I don't know. Do whatever you want. But if you want to enjoy this show in its full unhinged majesty, you got to check us out over on youtube.com/@ClippersPodcast. Subscribe, hit the little bell thing for notifications so you know when we got new videos coming out. And however you consume the show, we appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Adam, one positive thing before we all get back to this damn week.
I'm not sure I've driven this home enough, but the Clippers did not lose to the Sixers this season, and they were relatively healthy compared to what they got out there tonight. And I mean, that is something. Losing to Phoenix sucks, guys. They went 3-0 against the Clippers so far this season. They've won the season series. Now, I'll say this, like, they've had Kawhi for 8 games, and they're 6 games above 500. Like, what more can you ask for? And they have 3 very winnable games coming up. But San Antonio is going to be tough. So they have to come out. Hopefully they got a bad half out of them on this road trip against Phoenix. And now they're going to be completely locked in the rest of the way.
There we go. Completely locked in the rest of the way. We will be completely locked in the rest of this season. Thank you for hanging out with us. Hope you have a good rest of your week. It's been crazy. It's only Tuesday. And as always, let's go Clips.